There is a certain kind of woman who can be exhausted, overwhelmed, running on 3 hours of sleep, and still answer the question, "Do you need help?" with, "No, I'm good." She is not good. She is carrying 6 grocery bags in one hand because making 2 trips would apparently be a personal failure. Her laptop is at 2%, her patience is at 1%, and somehow she is still the person everyone else calls when their life catches fire. Maybe you know her. Maybe you are her. And if you are, stay with me. Because by the end of this video, I want to show you the strange reason this kind of independence can eventually make a woman feel abandoned, even when people around her genuinely care. And more importantly, the small shift that can break the pattern without turning you into someone helpless. Because not asking for help is not always the same thing as being independent. Healthy independence says, "I can handle things on my own." Hyper-independence says, "I have to handle things on my own." That one phrase, "have to," changes everything. For some women, asking for help doesn't feel like a practical decision. It feels like exposure. The moment you say, "I need you," you are no longer fully in control of what happens next. The other person might say no. They might sigh. They might disappoint you. They might help today and remind you about it 6 months from now, during an argument that started over where to order dinner. So doing it yourself feels cleaner, safer, predictable. And this pattern does not always come from one huge, dramatic event. Sometimes it grows from hundreds of tiny lessons. Maybe you were the easy child, the mature one, the daughter who noticed that everyone else already had enough problems, so you quietly decided not to become another one. Maybe people praised you for being responsible, calm, low maintenance, independent. Those compliments can feel wonderful, but if you hear them often enough, you can start building an identity around them. You are the strong one. And strong people, apparently, are never allowed to need a ride to the airport. So when life gets hard, your first instinct is not, "Who can help me?" It is, "How do I make this look manageable?" That is why women with this pattern can be incredibly generous. They will listen to a friend's 3-hour relationship crisis, help someone move, proofread a resume at midnight, remember everyone's birthday, and somehow find a charger for a phone they do not even own. But receiving the same care can feel weirdly uncomfortable. Giving puts you in control. Receiving requires trust. And trust is exactly where things get interesting. There is research behind one part of this. In a series of studies published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, people underestimated how willing others would be to help them. In some experiments, by as much as 50%. In other words, our brains can be surprisingly bad at predicting how annoying our request will actually be. Your brain says, "Do not bother her, she has a life." Meanwhile, she may be thinking, "Why does she never call me when she needs something?" And this creates one of the strangest relationship problems of hyper-independence. You become the person who gives constantly, but asks for almost nothing. At first, everyone thinks you are amazing, reliable, capable, the woman who has it together. Then, slowly, people stop offering. Not because they stopped caring, they may simply believe you. You said, "I've got it," so many times that they learn to trust you. And eventually, you can look around and think, "Why am I always the one helping everyone? Why does nobody ever show up for me?" That is the hidden part I promised you at the beginning. Sometimes people do not know how to show up for you because you have spent years teaching them that there is no job available. It is painful because underneath, "I don't need anyone," there is often a much softer wish. "I wish someone would notice without making me ask." Unfortunately, other people are not emotional smoke detectors. Even people who love us can miss what we hide extremely well. And the cost is bigger than being tired. If you never let anyone support you, people can know your competence without ever really knowing you. They see the polished version, the useful version, the version that brings soup but never admits she needs some herself. Real closeness needs some two-way traffic. So what do you do if asking for help makes your entire nervous system react like you just suggested handing your bank password to a stranger? Do not start with a giant request. Start embarrassingly small. Ask a coworker, "Can you look at this for 2 minutes?" Tell a friend, "I've had a rough day, can I vent for 10 minutes?" When someone says, "Do you want help with that?" try answering, "Actually, yes, thank you," before your automatic, "No, I'm fine," escapes the building. The goal is not to become dependent, it is to become flexible. Because the opposite of hyper-independence is not helplessness, it is interdependence, knowing that you can stand on your own feet and still let someone stand beside you. You do not lose strength when you receive support, you simply stop requiring strength to be your full-time personality. And maybe that is the real upgrade, not becoming less capable, but finally becoming capable of receiving too. So I want to ask you something. What feels harder for you? Asking for help or accepting it when someone offers? Tell me in the comments. I have a feeling a lot of women are going to recognize themselves in the answers. And if you like psychology that explains the little patterns we live with every day without making you feel like you are sitting through a college lecture, subscribe to Her Patterns. There is a lot more to uncover.